Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 100, the celebration. We always call every 10th episode the shit show. We get our good friends on there and just do any random anything, right? Any topics of random anything. And I think we had a lot of fun on this one, had some extra friends on. It's quite a feat to have 100 episodes. I mean, you all have been listening and I hope you'll continue listening to all these crazy rants, and we'll see where we go and if we end up stopping at any point, but it doesn't feel like it anytime soon. But I wanted to go ahead and let you all know we're back with a brand new guest today, and we have a quite a story to tell here, and a little bit of history and a little bit of outrage. Honestly, I'm gonna talk about something that I could definitely get on board with, that as far as our guest and how somebody just kind of hit him out of nowhere, because it happened to me too, and we talked about it on the podcast, and we'll revisit that. But I wanted to welcome to the podcast for the very first time, Mr. Richie Roberts. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Hey, are you, Richie? You're also in California, right? It's very rare for me, because I usually have people from the East Coast or different countries or something like that. So it's kind of crazy that we actually could have, if I chose to, drive down there, we could have done this in person. But I've gotten lazy and like Zoom works for me, so that's perfect for me. But it's noon time of recording right here in Southern California. I'd say it's a pretty nice day, right?
Yeah, it's very nice so far.
Yeah,
I'm in Lancaster, so it gets very cold here, so it's really nice now.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to pick your brain on something, because the two of us, we have a mutual acquaintance, Stephen Joyner, and he's always sending me people to interview on the podcast. He always gets very excited about it, and one of the things he told me about you is that he goes, this guy has talked to, and he knows more celebrities than I ever have, right? And so I go and I check out your MySpace, and sure enough, there you are with with like Dolly Parton, right? And
Facebook, not MySpace is long gone.
Did I say MySpace?
Yes, you did.
Oh, that tells you where my brain was. That was a superior social media in my opinion. Dang, I can't believe I just said MySpace. But yeah, Facebook. Sorry about that. Yeah, I went on to Facebook, and there you are with like Dolly Parton. So it's like, what did you do where you're able to meet so many celebrities?
Well, I worked at Jerry's Deli in Studio City for 36 years, and we used to get people every day. And it was exciting every day not to know who you were going to meet when you went to work.
So it's kind of like a regular thing. They heard about Jerry's Deli, and they wanted to kind of stop in and try it and see what it's all about. It's kind of one of those things where it's like super trendy and popular.
Yeah, that, and also there was an office building next door that did a lot of shows and had voiceover people, so they would come there and then they would come and eat.
You were there for quite a while, and we'll talk about how long you were there. Well, let's talk about that, right? You were there for about 30 years or so?
36 years, and I enjoyed every minute of it most of the time. You get your little problems once in a while, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to work every day. I drove very far to get to work, and that's because I enjoyed it so much. And my mom had worked there at one time. My sister had worked there at one time. It was a family thing once upon a time, but then it became very corporate.
Right.
But I was very comfortable there, and I enjoyed it.
What around what year were you first there?
I started in 1985.
Oh, so that's like the height of like action movies and pro wrestling and MTV, right?
And that's when we just started picking up, when we started to get a name, because they were open since 78.
Okay.
But around the time I was there is when it started to pick up and become what it was.
And who was one of the first celebrities that just kind of like popped in, and you're like, whoa, was this who I think it is? And how was that? How was that experience for you there?
Yeah, well, the first celebrity I did meet there, and I remember getting an autograph. I used to have them autograph to go menus. Was Stella Stevens. If you remember Stella Stevens, and she was my first one, and she used to come in after that. Now she's not doing too well, but I had seen her many years after that, and we became friends. But yeah, she was my first one, and I remember that very well.
It reminds me because I used to do all kinds of different jobs, and one of them was different like little bouncer, bodyguard duties every now and then, right? And so it would be one of those things where you get to see the celebrities, you get to interact with them, but like you really can't like talk to them like a normal person. You can't take pictures with them. You're kind of like, if you do, you're gonna get fired.
That's what they say, yeah.
But it seems like at the Deli you would have an opportunity to really just kind of have a little more fun with it, right?
I did, and they did have that rule, but I wasn't going to follow it, and they never said anything, because when they wanted pictures to be able to hang on the wall, they would always have me do it. So I said that's not fair. So, and then, of course, in the beginning we didn't have camera phones, right. So everything was autographed. Later on, I started taking pictures with people, because I had the camera. I thought, let me take pictures with these people, and because you never know if they're going to come back. Or like one of my good customers was Luke Perry, and wow. And he was a great guy. And for years I waited on him, and we became friends, and I never had a picture with them. So I decided one day when he was there with Sharon Doherty, and I said, let's get a picture. So we took a picture, and it was great. And the next week he died. So
that's crazy.
That really took a blow for me,
Yeah. And so he was kind of a regular there, huh?
Yeah, he was a regular, him and his dog Angel.
Did you ever meet his son?
No, I never met anybody other than people that were in the business with him. He usually came by himself.
His son is actually he's a pro wrestler. He's on TV every week now. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Very good.
Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Yeah. So it's interesting. He didn't want to use his name, Jack Perry, because he wanted to make his own legacy. He wanted to get out there and make a name for himself with his own character and whatnot. So, but it's interesting to see that. His dad was is one form of entertainment, and he went and completely did something different.
Direction, yeah.
Now who are maybe some other people you had an opportunity to really maybe connect with, or maybe that you were kind of just like in awe of? Did you ever get like the big ones like Arnold or anything like that? Or
what I was in awe of when Dolly Parton came in, that was something on my bucket list. And she was amazing, just like you see her on TV. She was just that sweet and just exactly like she is, which was very nice to see.
Yeah. It could go the other way, right? Where they're just kind of complete jerks or anything like that.
We had Marlon Brando one day, many years ago, and one of the servers there, that was his idol. So he went over to him and says, I hate to disturb you. And he says, then don't.
Wow.
And that just knocks you right down. But he was one of the only ones that were like that. Anybody else came in, they were very, very attentive to everybody. They took pictures and most of them were very nice, especially Shaquille O'Neal. He was the greatest. He was nice with everybody, and he always took pictures, and he was a good guy.
Even now on his social media, you see he's very generous. He'll go and buy random things for people.
Yeah.
He'll buy iPads for people.
He was a good tipper. And then there was homeless people outside one day, and he gave them like $100 bill to go, get some food or something. Yeah, he was very generous.
Mm-hmm. And that's good to see. Yeah, but somebody like Brando, I'm surprised by that. And you would think that maybe back in the day, you might have had like paparazzi and everything, but now everybody's essentially paparazzi, right? So you don't ever want to be caught.
Still, they were still there. They were still in the bushes, and they were still trying to get what they can. They couldn't come in, but they did what they had to do.
Now, talk to me about, just the mood, the scenery, the feel of the whole place, right? Was it, you enjoyed going to work? You mentioned you really, it was a big part of your life, right? What was that energy like? I mean, because it's got to be one of those places that's like, it was like a landmark, right? A lot of people that, I want to go to Jerry's Deli. I got to check it out because I'm in the area.
Yes, and a lot of people that grew up coming to Jerry's Deli, where I had customers that had kids, and then they would come in years later and say, "Remember when, so and so was born?" It's like, boy, make me feel really old, but that's how it went, and it was great because a lot of the people that were celebrities were like that. They'd have kids when they were younger, then they'd come in with their kids later, and you watched them grow up, and the atmosphere was great. I mean, it was like a Broadway stage is what they wanted to do. We had the stage lights and that whole kind of look thing, and it was great. People loved coming in. They loved looking around and just seeing if there was celebrities there, or come in and wait for somebody.
Right. Yeah. And it's kind of funny. You don't really get that too many places anymore. I think it has to do probably because, like you mentioned, everybody has that phone readily available with a camera now, right? And I think while celebrities want to get noticed, and they want to get noticed for the good things they do, I'm sure every now and then they just want to have a normal meal, right? And to be constantly. I mean, you don't want to be a jerk like Marlon Brando and say just don't bug me. But at some point you might want to just have a little bit of privacy, and it might be kind of hard to do where in an area like that now. And so maybe I don't think you really see those places anymore. Not too much. Because I've been going to like for karaoke, right? I've been going to Brass Monkey for years, right? And they have all these pictures of celebrities on the wall, and I'm like, I've never seen any of those people here. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't go for the celebrities, but some people do, and they're like, I hope I see, so and so tonight. I'm like, and I'll tell them I've been coming here for years. I've never seen any of those celebrities show up. Maybe they show up on a random Tuesday or something, but not on a packed Friday night.
Yeah, no, people used to do that. I mean, with this one girl, I remember that she used to come in every day and sit all through like breakfast to lunch. And so finally I asked her one day, what is she doing here? And she said that she was waiting for Roseanne, because Roseanne used to come in quite a lot when she was doing her show. And she was waiting for her to come in because she saw her there one time and she was waiting. And so some people do that.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I think, I mentioned how that's kind of, it was like a landmark. There's like so many, notice there's so many California eateries that are just like, must go, spots, right? Like if I'm ever taking anybody to like a burger spot and it's a California burger spot, other than In-N-Out, everybody has to have In-N-Out, right? But I'll be like, okay, let's go to the original Tommy's, right? Like I'm not talking about the drive-through ones. I'm talking about the one on Rampart, the original one where it's open 24 hours, where you have to order from the outdoor stand, like because it's just an experience, and you get to, I mean, there's nothing appealing about eating standing up, but you get to just kind of get a feel for like, okay, this is how it was first made. This is like history right here, right? A lot of people, they'll go and eat at Philippe's for a roast beef sandwich, right? So was Jerry's was it popular for any particular food or meal or anything like that?
Well, we were known for the matzo ball soup and the pastrami corned beef sandwiches, but we were on a list of people who come from out of town and sites to see. We were on that list for a long time. We used to have a lot of people from other countries coming in that used to come in because they saw it on the list.
Right.
So
how did you enjoy the food?
I liked it. I always enjoyed the food there. In the beginning, I didn't, because I'm not Jewish, so I didn't know the difference between corned beef and pastrami. But as the years went on, I tried everything pretty much. And, I miss it. I miss it. If I go to a deli now, I'll have what I can't have anymore.
Well, it's kind of crazy because California, it's very hard to find a good pastrami sandwich, apparently. I didn't really realize that because, people, if you're talking pastrami, you're always talking about New York, right? New York. And I guess that's kind of like the taste of New York style, pastrami in California, because we have, I think our idea of pastrami is a little thinner, like if I'm thinking of pastrami, I'm thinking about like the hat, right? And they have like that very thin pastrami. And to me, I'm like, that's pastrami. And, you ask like an East Coast person, a New York person, they're like, that's not pastrami.
Exactly. We used to get our stuff alone from the East Coast, so we had the good stuff.
Right. And I think you mentioned, because it's more like that Jewish cuisine, and they like that thick, right from the brisket. Right. So it's, it's different, so I really, I need to try to see if I can find a good pastrami now in LA, because I'm getting hungry. I know there's got to be at least a couple places, right? Now, unfortunately, and this is what I wanted to talk about. And it upsets me a lot because of the way it happened, and I've seen this happen before, and it's happened to me, right? You and everybody that worked at Jerry's were kind of shit out of luck, right? I mean, at some point. So what happened there?
I mean, they told us we closed October 31st. They told us like October 25th that we were closing at the end of the week. And that was it. I mean, there was no getting together and for them to tell us what was going on. No thank yous for all the years, no compensation of any kind. And that was it. 36 years of my life gone, with nothing and nothing to fall back on.
Right.
I did unemployment. I did I used the savings. I borrowed what I could, and that's it. And now it's such a hard time because I can't find another job. And I've been trying so hard. From everything, from working at, Macy's to Taco Bell. But I don't know if I'm overqualified or what, but nobody seems to want me. Mm-hmm. And it's very upsetting, and I think about it all the time.
And, I'm not going to ask, your age or anything like that, but I think what we're seeing here, first and foremost, speak to that. It's a bit of ageism, and I think that, that's unfortunate because you have experience, you have, wisdom, you have, know-how, and it's a lot of the time when you hire, people that are fresh out of school or it's like their first management position, they're going to make a lot of mistakes, And I've been on teams where I've had to hire people, and we tend to go that way, unfortunately, a lot of the time. If they're a little older, it's like, they seem a little overqualified kind of thing. And that's always the what do you call it? The little catchphrase you use to really not say they're too old, do you feel like that's the case?
Well, I don't know, because everything is done online. Mm-hmm. They don't ask you for your age.
Yeah, it's illegal.
Maybe because of my years of working there, they're just assuming. But I don't know what happened to the days of going into a place and talking to somebody. Let them know you. Let them see exactly who they're getting. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. That's nobody's doing that anymore.
Right. I mean, you used to have to walk in, with a proper haircut, looking nice, smelling
exactly.
nice, good, mm-hmm. firm handshake, and that's nowhere to be seen anymore. They'll prefer a pretty resume with a bunch of lies on it. And that they'll prefer that to experience even sometimes, and it's unfortunate. Yeah. Now you mentioned how Jerry's just kind of closed on you all and left you without anything, right? And mm-hmm. that happened to me where I was working at a nonprofit, and I'll tell you, we had about over 1,000 employees, and so there was one random Friday morning, we'd already been kind of like everybody's like scrambling. What's going on here? Everything's kind of running a little fishy. We're having to cut people. We're having to this and that. And then just one random Friday morning, everybody gets on a conference call before their scheduled time even, and it's like, hey, by the way, we're closing today, and everybody's being laid off, and you're not getting paid for this pay period, and you're not getting your vacation time or anything paid out. It's been real. It's been nice. Good luck. See you later. So I've been in your shoes.
But that was more than we got. That was more than we got. We didn't get any of that.
Oh, so it was just kind of like you just left in the dust and no anything.
Yeah, nothing. No, nothing. They didn't. It was like on the Friday before, the Thursday before, we filled out papers for insurance, health insurance. We filled out papers for direct deposit because they were going to do direct deposit. And then on that Tuesday, they told us we're closing. So it was really just happened.
Now, I really, I tend to stay away from, mentioning any names or anything like that. So we're not going to do that. But I mean, is there any sort of like, legal action that's been taken or anything like that? I mean, it's tough because it's like, who do you go after? Is there money to compensate anybody? But is there anything going on like that?
No, nobody's doing anything because I think some people had talked to a lawyer and there's really nothing we can do.
Right.
Because, they closed. And, if they want to be that way, that's the way they're going to be. I mean, they have so many lawsuits anyway, that's going to take them years to settle them, but they have anyway going on. So
was this because of, they're just losing business because of like COVID or something like that? Or
that's what they said. But, in my view and from what I know is we were doing very good. Of course, things were a little slower and stuff, and we have the bowling alley attached to us, and they were closed, so we were losing a lot of that business. But we were doing good enough to stay open.
You know what? Now that you mentioned, the matzo ball, I actually remember seeing. Did you guys do a lot of like DoorDash orders as well? Because I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw Jerry's Deli like listed in DoorDash.
Yeah, we were doing a lot of that stuff. And having deliveries or they were picking up, and people were, whatever the companies picked it up and brought it to whoever.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember I was looking at it, like, that looks pretty good. I was like, maybe I'll order that next week. And I guess that's when y'all might have closed or something like that. But I did see that. But yeah, I mean, now it's closed. You're left out in the dark there. You're at a point where you've gone through your savings. You're not able to find work right now. I did want to share what you're doing, and hopefully, people will be kind and open up their hearts a little. But talk about that a little. What are you doing right now to try to offset your costs, your living, and all that?
Well, I figured all these years I worked and put into the system that I can. Maybe now was my time to get back. So I do get a little help as far as, for food and stuff, but anything else I don't get, and even that food thing is not that much, but yeah, there's nothing else that I'm getting. I do get a little, one of my customers, that was one of my first customers. We were friends all these years, and she had made me power of attorney for her when she died, and never thinking that it was going to happen. But she had a little annuity, like $600 or something that I get for a couple of years. But with that, it's like you're paying the electric and the gas. I mean, I haven't even paid my mortgage, as embarrassing as it sounds, and I'm hoping not to lose the house. But there's nothing I can do. I can't do anything. So that's where I'm at. And that's why I started this GoFundMe. And embarrassing as it is, and, as demeaning and it just kills me. I didn't have another choice. I didn't know what else to do. So.
I mean, and you put it that way, and it's like, if I were some person that were looking at it without any context, I'd probably be one of these snobby people like, why don't you go work? And it's like, you're trying, and I get it, and that's why it is embarrassing sometimes to do something like that. I even using GoFundMe for the right reasons, like when somebody, when somebody dies, my younger brother died, and I remember having to put up a GoFundMe. It is embarrassing, you're putting yourself out there and you're asking for help, and but you know what, I find that a lot of the time people, are willing to help. They, are more generous than you think. They're, people are good, and I hate to, I was always used to be like one of these cynical people, like, oh no, people are genuinely, like, bad people, and they don't want to help anybody out. But I remember seeing all the love I got, and all the support I got when I did put that GoFundMe up, and I'm like, man, people really are good at, at
they do. There's a lot of people that are good, they really weigh out the bad. I mean, I used to, in the restaurant too, all the time, I used to have the best customers. Yeah, there was some that weren't so good, but for the most part, they were good, and the people were good, and luckily for Facebook, I get to keep in touch with my customers.
Yeah.
And, I'm lucky for that. And everybody's been pretty generous helping me, whatever they can, whatever they can, I'm happy. And I feel so overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
So,
we'll put up that GoFundMe, this is coming out a week later, so I'll try to make sure that it kind of aligns so people listen, and then once they listen, they'll hopefully be able to click onto your GoFundMe. So keep that open for another few weeks if you can, man. That way we get at least a little something in there, but
so appreciate anything
for sure. And now, as far as your experience for work and whatnot, let's throw it out there too. It never hurts. Maybe somebody listening will be like, hey, I could use that guy, right? So what do you, I mean, what do you have as far as experience? You worked at Jerry's Deli. Were you a manager?
I was a manager at one time when we had a store in Westwood, but we had closed that down. But I stopped being a manager in Westwood because in Westwood it was all a bunch of little kids working from the school, and I just didn't want to be a babysitter anymore. But I did management. I was server, cashier. I mean, I did everything, and I would appreciate anything somebody has to offer. Like I say, I live in Lancaster, and I tried to stay in Lancaster because driving to Jerry's was like 62 miles a day one way. But and I was, I love doing it, so I went. I didn't want to have to drive now, especially with gas being what it is.
Yeah.
But there's the point now. I've tried everything up here. I've exhausted everything that I can possibly find or apply for. So, anybody has anything out there, I'll take it.
So let's those of you listening out there, let's make sure that we put on our thinking caps and see what we can do to help Ritchie get back on his feet and really start making that money again, right? Because hard work doesn't scare Ritchie, right?
No, it doesn't. I want to do it. I want to feel like I have a purpose. I have no purpose anymore. If it wasn't for my animals, I probably wouldn't even get out of bed every morning.
Yeah. No, and I get you. I had a brief period during the pandemic where I was laid off. For the first time ever, because I ever since I got a job, I've just gone nonstop. I've been working. Sometimes 2 jobs, right? And it's like not having a purpose and just kind of like being there and not having anything to look forward to.
That was it.
It's a little depressing, yeah. I hate to be in that position, so definitely hope that you get back on your feet. But if is there anything else out there that maybe you're looking forward to, or that you're working on right now, or anything like that, or is there anything else you want to share with the podcast world?
Yeah. No, that's about it right now. My number one focus is trying to get work and trying to keep the house and everything else. So that's pretty much consumes me all day, thinking about it, or there's always something that's making me think about it, whether I go to sleep thinking about it or, have dreams thinking about it, but I just really want to work You know,
Yeah.
I'm still able to work, and I wanted to do it.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Richie. Well, I mean, it's been fun chatting with you. Again, I do, I do sympathize with what you're going through, and I hate to hear anybody not doing well, and the way you told your story, it's unfortunate, because it's kind of hit you out of nowhere. So I do wish you the best of luck, and again, I hope if anybody's listening, they're able to help you out a little bit. And we'll get that link out there for the GoFundMe. What if anybody it would be okay if anybody reaches out to you if they'd like to via and I'm not going to say MySpace this time, via Facebook or Instagram. Do you want to share your handles for that?
Yeah. I just think it's Richie Roberts. It's a picture with me and Dolly Parton.
Okay.
They can't miss that one.
And that's for Facebook?
Yeah, that's for Facebook.
Are you on Instagram?
MySpace, I don't remember anymore.
Are you on Twitter or Instagram or anything?
Yeah, but I don't use it. The Instagram, I think, is the same thing, but I don't use it.
Okay.
Very rarely I open it when somebody sends something or says I've been hacked or something. And otherwise, I don't do it.
Yeah, no, don't get hacked. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll touch base, and then we'll see where we're at. And if ever you want to jump on for anything else, I'd welcome you again.
Thank you so much, and just so everybody knows that whatever help they can give me would be great, and when I'm all situated, I will pay it forward.
All right, everybody listening at home, appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.